Let's roll. Let's roll.
Yo, PM, what's up? Thanks for stopping in, PM. Good to see you. Got some McDonald's breakfast to smash and take a nap. Nice. I was just eating a couple of cashews. Just some cashews here, no big deal. Eric with a tier 1. Eric, thank you. Lecture is the GOAT. Vance is the GOAT. Trump is the GOAT. Pelosi is the WOAT. Amen to that. Thank you so much, Eric. Eric and PM in the house. Early Friday. Let's go.
Molotov out. Bomb has been planted.
Wow.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
What are they saying, Eric? Are they saying basically like Trump is calling for ethnic cleansing and Trump is calling for like the Trail of Tears and Trump is worse than Andrew Jackson's Trail of Tears and Trump is worse than Hitler? And what are they saying?
One really low.
All right, let's win this one, boys. You guys want to? Let's five man push out A main. 5-man push out A main. Take A site control.
Rightio.
They're saying Trump is acting like Hitler and Elon is Space Hitler. Space Hitler.
Deploying smoke shield. Flashbang out. Throwing flashbang. Smoke! Activating the bomb. Throwing bomb. Bomb has been planted. Let's throw a grenade.
Their guns down anywhere? Confusing. Dude.
Terrorists win.
Oh, he faked. He faked. Oh, I know, Eric. Me too. That's what's so great about it, Eric. It was a complete shock. It was a complete shock, Eric. I don't think anybody had ever even thought of or considered the idea of America taking over Gaza. It was never even in the cards. It was a complete shock and surprise to everybody, I think. Which is what made it so just sort of like incredible.
Smoking. Flashbang. Throwing a Molotov. I'm throwing a flashbang. Throwing a flashbang. Grenade. Cover me while I plant. Bomb has been planted. Grenade out. Flashbang. Grenade! I'm throwing a grenade. Terrorists win.
Come back. Yeah, I can already imagine Gaza is basically Dubai once Hamas are gone for good because it's nice land. Dude, it's Mediterranean. Yeah, it's great land on the Mediterranean Sea. Yeah, absolutely. And with Hamas gone, Israeli land goes up in value too. Trump fired the head of the FEC. No, he needs to take action to ensure future elections can't be rigged. Wow, good PM. That sounds huge. Trump firing everybody, getting stuff done.
Throwing smoke. Flashbang. Fire in the hole. Throwing a flashbang.
Be clear, be clear.
Smoke. Smoke. I planted the bomb. Bomb has been planted. I'm throwing a grenade. Molotov.
Oh, he's on B side, he's on B side.
3000s on the new revolution.
Counter-terrorists win.
So everywhere I go, people ask me some variation of the question.
A coalition of 13 state attorneys general plans to sue the Trump administration over Elon Musk's access to the Treasury Department. New York State Attorney General Letitia James announced the suit yesterday.
Are you serious? Letitia's gonna try to sue the Trump Good luck, Letitia. They are so triggered. Trump broken many of their minds into pieces. Oh, they have no idea what to do or think. It's the most incredible. Honestly, you guys know, it surprised me even. Like how and it's exceeded my wildest dreams and I didn't think it was possible for a president to do this much and this fast and do this good a job and this many things and push this far and do that many smart things and do this, like, completely dismantle USAID. Like, I never would have thought that was possible.
Throwing smoke.
Isn't that incredible, Eric? Isn't that incredible, Eric? I need to go get some coffee, please.
I'm throwing a grenade. Smoke. Counter-terrorists win.
All right, guys, let's do a 5-man B push. 5-man B push. Everybody go B. Try to get something going here, boys.
Elon Musk and his Doge team's
Doge. I love how the media now has to say Doge all the time. Trump going to be president for America's 250th birthday. He signed an AO about it. Yeah, PM, it's going to be like an entire year-long celebration. It's going to be awesome. And he's going to do the Garden of American Heroes. It's going to be so great. I can't wait for all that stuff. It's going to be so patriotic.
Counter-terrorists win.
You know what I'd like to ask Trump, or hear somebody ask Trump? Hey Trump, can you talk about some of like the great things you did for New York, and like Trump, can you talk about some of like the great deals you made as a real estate developer? You know what I mean? Like I'd like to hear Trump talk about some of the really great things he did back when he was in private business.
Smoking.
And I just want to hear him how he would respond to that. He'd probably say, "Oh, I've done some very great things. I've done some incredible deals."
I'm throwing a flashback. Throwing smoke. Activating the bomb.
The best has yet to come is right, PM. I never believed that more than now. Honestly, PM, haven't even you been surprised at how good a job Trump is doing? Aren't you even surprised at how fast he's moving and how much he's doing? Like in a good way, obviously, but
Let's move. Come on, hurry up.
hey, that beat push worked. Or no, it didn't.
Decoys out.
That was me just getting a bunch of kills last round.
Flashbang out. Molotov out. Throwing fire. Throwing smoke. I'm planting the bomb. Bomb has been planted. Let's throw the flashback. Terrorists win. I better go out.
Nice, dude. All right, guys, let's get one more round. If we get this 5th round, we get 5 rounds T side on train and go into CT with 5. We'll be good. Got to get this one though.
Let's go, let's go.
I am blown away. He's obviously not been kidding at the rallies the past year when he said he had things planned. He has the best advisors. Yeah, 100% agree. Nice flash. Ah. Oh, I had the bomb too, frick.
Counter-terrorists win.
You actually don't get extra cash when you vote people off, but whatever.
Oh. I mean, whatever.
We'll still win. We'll still win. Come back. Come back. 4v5 comeback. Let's smoke these A's.
Sure.
Here's a great question. Lecture, is there anything that Trump can potentially fail that would revoke your support of him?
Let's go have some fun.
I mean, yeah.
Incendiary.
If Trump engaged in, you know, bribery or something, then I would revoke my support. But like, if he could just like fail at something that he was trying to do, like if he like, oh, he failed to convince Congress to pass this bill or that bill. No, I don't think so.
Bomb has been planted. Defusing. Terrorists win.
Oh, for sure, Eric. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that something like that could do it. Save here. Save one.
Let's make this ring as rain.
Sell that back, Orange. Thank you. Yo, yellow.
Bomb has been planted.
Save it. Wow. That was bad. Panama president rejects U.S. claim of free American canal passage for U.S. government vessels. I didn't think it was a request, though. Yeah, it's like, dude, who does this guy think he is? He's about to lose the canal for his country. I agree, Eric. I don't think China's gonna F with Trump. I really don't. I think they're gonna take it more seriously. I think China's gonna take the U.S. more seriously under Blinken. Blinken was such a lightweight. Oh, he really was, Eric. The thing about Marco Rubio, Eric. Here's the thing about Marco Rubio, Eric, and you're gonna love you know this and you love this too. Marco Rubio is a Cuban American, which means he has very, very well thought out and strong and developed anti-commie views. He hates commies. The Cubans that have come to the United States hate commies worse than anybody.
Terrorists win.
So we have a hardcore anti-commie at Secretary or at State.
Throwing fire. Lay down smoke.
When you finally escape communism, you do everything to make sure it doesn't happen to other people. Right, right.
Throwing flashbang. Deploying terrorists win.
Brutal. I had a good game. I was 16 and 13. Over 1,600 damage. That's actually over 100 damage around. So I played well.
Let's go, let's go.
My team did not.
Counter-terrorists win. You're right on, you're right on.
Eric, here's what I think really is going on, Eric. Here's what I really think about Trump's sort of thing is with Gaza. It's like Donald Trump wants to take back the Panama Canal. He wants to take Greenland. He wants Canada to become a state. He thinks Canada... Like, dude, he's interested in territory. He wants Gaza to become part of America. Like, dude, he wants territorial expansion. What's the one common thing in all four of those things? Territorial expansion. It's not some, oh, he's got some specific plan for Gaza that's, oh, this is a unique plan for Gaza. It's like, no, Donald Trump just wants territorial expansion.
Deploying flashbang.
And who can blame him? Who could blame him? Donald Trump probably thinks that like all the great leaders of history like took over land, and he wants to take over land. Wow, PM. Wow. These leftists are sick.
Terrorists win. All right, all right.
Yo, have you guys ever read Job?
Move it, move it.
Eric or PM, have you guys ever read the book of Job? I want South Africa to be free of the tyrannical. Oh, I know, Eric. South Africa's like doing actual like ethnic cleansing against white farmers.
Grenade. Bomb has been planted. Terrorists win.
That may or may not be true, Eric, but that is the hottest of hot spicy hot takes. Holy cow, man. You gotta cool it down in the chat with the hot takes. Yo, you guys, I gotta show you guys something. I've almost gotten nuclear power, you guys. I almost have nuclear power. The question is, you know what? I'm just gonna have to do it like. Is this coming? What I ought to do is just blast all this out. Like, oh, you know what? I need to turn on some sorry, I need to turn on the news here, or hydrogen fuel station is out of fuel. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. DC's not good. Okay, uh-oh. All right, so I got I think I have a lot of yeah, look at all this. I've got all this hydrogen. This shit's just going. Yeah, I've got all this freaking hydrogen. Where's this going? Why is this going and then back? This makes no sense, dude. I think I have this frickin' thing in like a perpetual loop. Shouldn't do that. Oh, wow. Oh, that was... Frick. This is probably part of the problem. Here, let me turn on a news thing. So we can talk and listen to something. Yo, Crazy Noodles, what up?
That's how the skinny people of the world are skinny. It's called the gut-centric theory of hunger. We'll study out of China.
We're really excited for you to help us kick off our intellectual theme, Human in the Machine, which is leadership on the emerging battlefield. How do you see warfare transforming in the future? I mean, the biggest
affect, I think, by far is AI and drones. So the next, well, in fact, the current war in Ukraine is very much a drone war already. It's sort of a contest between Russia and China to see who can deploy the most number of drones. Now, if there's a major power war, it's very much going to be a drone war. It's going to be drones and AI, and it's a sort of. I mean, I do worry about the existential risk of AI, which is that if you employ AI and drones, do you go down this path where eventually you get to Terminator? Try to avoid that.
Terminator.
That'd be good. That would be good. Minimize the Terminator risk. But I mean, essentially, if when you're making military drones, you are making Terminators, and I think you'll somewhat be forced into giving the drone localized AI, because if the AI is far away, it can't control as well as localized AI. So,
what do you mean by localized AI?
Meaning it's autonomous killing machine.
Completely autonomous.
Well, you give it the okay, in a particular arena, and it goes
with certain parameters.
Yeah, hopefully.
Do you think our adversaries will have those same type of concerns or limitations?
Well, yeah. I mean, it depends on how much existential risk there is in these wars. So if it's a regional war, I think it'll be more tempered. If it goes beyond a regional war, then it's all bets are off. And then you start deploying things that you really wouldn't want to deploy. So hopefully that doesn't happen.
But you said it, and I would agree that if you just look at the contemporary conflicts that are taking place, you would agree that machines aren't just disrupting warfare; they're now commonplace.
Drones are going to be overwhelmingly the what matters in any between any powers that have significant technology. It's so. My personal belief is like that it'll actually be I think probably too dangerous to have humans at the front. It's drones at the front.
It's too dangerous.
Drones don't miss
because of the lethality. Then it's too dangerous to have humans at the front.
Yes, I mean if you've seen some of the computer-controlled sniper rifles, I mean they just don't miss. So you're fighting a machine that's gonna aim with micron-level accuracy and never gets tired.
So how do you think the United States should be leveraging technology to further our national defense?
Well, I think we probably need to invest in drones. The United States is strong in terms of technology of the items, but the production rate is low. So it's a small number of units, relatively speaking. But basically, I think there's a production rate issue. Like the rate, say, like how fast can you make drones? If you say there's a drone conflict, the outcome of that drone conflict will be how many drones does each side have in that particular skirmish times the kill ratio. So if you can have let's say the United States would have a set of drones that have a high kill ratio, but then the other side has far more drones. If you've got a 2-to-1 kill ratio, the other side has 4 times as many drones, you're still going to lose.
Do you think our industrial base can scale to make the volume of drones that you're talking about?
I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. That is it can scale, but it is not currently scaling.
Why would that be?
I think the procurement is still. I mean, I read a lot of military history and actually like the thing that I go to sleep with is usually an audio book on military history of one kind or another. So I find the subject very interesting. And one of the things that tends to happen is that countries pretty much are geared up to fight the last war, not the next war. And it's hard to change. I mean, you look at the uniforms at the start of World War I and the tactics and strategies they used at the start of World War I, they were not significantly different from the Napoleonic era. The French who were marching into war with brightly colored uniforms look great. That's not what you want to be. When someone's trying to point a gun at you, you don't want a great looking uniform. You want a uniform that blends in. So there's a tendency to be gearing up to fight the last war. And the last war the U.S. fought is kind of the Cold War, I guess. So it usually takes like some kind of shock factor to adjust. I would recommend adjusting now. And you are seeing some startups like Anduril and a few others that have a different mindset. But it's really, it's going to be, can you make a lot of drones? And what's the kill ratio? That's what it comes down to.
So there was recently a report that said that President Zelensky said by February 2025, there'll be 1 million drones produced by the Ukrainians. So it seems like it's doable, and this might be a process question. And we'll talk about process in a second. But as you were just talking, I was thinking about, and you said that you can't have humans at the front. And so you haven't created a company that's solved aging yet, have you?
No.
Okay, so in 100 years.
I wonder whether we should solve aging.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I'd like to wrap it up sometimes, right?
Well, it's like, how long do you want Putin and Kim Jong-un to live?
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah. But let's say
don't get it first.
Let's say you go forward 50, 100 years. How do you envision this evolution? And I think this might get to Neuralink. How do you see this evolution between the human, who maybe can't be at the front any longer, the technology's at the front, yet keeping them integrated and synchronized? Like, how is that going to work in your mind?
I mean, so communications is essential. Like, it is actually very important to have space-based communications that cannot be intercepted, which is Starlink. What Starlink offers. Starlink is the backbone of the Ukrainian military communication system, because it can't be blocked by the Russians. Essentially, it's the only thing that can't be. So on the front lines, all the fiber connections are cut, the cell towers are blown up, and the geostationary satellite links are jammed. The only thing that isn't jammed is Starlink. So it's the only thing. And then GPS is also jammed. The GPS signal is very faint, but Starlink can offer location capability as well. So it is a strategic advantage that's very significant. And when you're trying to communicate with the drones need to, like, basically, they need to know where they are, and they need to receive instructions. So if you don't have communications and positioning, then the drones don't work. So
now,
that's quite important. It's essential.
But you find it important that there's still that communication between the human and the machine or the drone.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, there's like, it's a different question of like, where are things like right now versus where will things be in 10 years? But I have to say, I do look at the future with some trepidation. I have to have some deliberate suspension of disbelief to sleep sometimes, because I think we're headed into a pretty wild future. And I'm naturally an optimistic person. So, but AI is going to be so good, including localized AI. I mean, at the current rates, you'll have, something that's sort of rock level AI, probably that can be run on a drone. And so you could literally say, this is the equipment that the drone needs to destroy. Go into that thing, it'll recognize what equipment needs to be destroyed and take it out.
It's a lot of your work at Neuralink, though, is because what you're saying is that AI is going to quickly surpass, at least in your estimation, the human's ability to control it.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say no, but the answer is yes.
So first off, how long until you think that happens? Before that, the AI has evolved to the point where, the AIs can start working together, even relying on computers, like in a dehobbled way, and therefore surpasses the ability for the human to be able to influence how it's working.
Well, I think humans will be able to influence how it's working for a long time. This is an esoteric subject that really goes into pretty wild speculation. I think to some degree that the AIs, I think, will want humans as a source of will. So if you think of how the human mind works, there's the limbic system and the cortex, your kind of base instincts and the sort of thinking and planning part of your brain. But you also have a tertiary layer already, which is all of the electronics that you use, your phones, computers, applications. So you already sort of have 3 layers of intelligence. But all of those, the cortex and the machine intelligence, your sort of cybernetic third layer, is trying to make the limbic system happy, because the limbic system is a source of will. So there's some, it might be that the AIs just want to make the humans happy. And part of what Neuralink's trying to do is improve the communication bandwidth between the cortex and the digital tertiary layer, because our output bandwidth of a human is less than 1 bit per second per day. There's 86,400 seconds in a day. you don't output 86,400 tokens. So, you know, but like the number of words that I can say at this forum, say just look at it from an information theory standpoint. How much information am I able to convey? Not that much, because I can only say a few number of words. And in order to convey an idea, I have to take a concept in my head, I have to compress it down to a small number of words, try to aspirationally model how you would decompress those words into concepts in your own mind. That's communication. So your brain is doing a lot of compression, decompression, and then has a very small output bandwidth. Neuralink can increase that bandwidth by several orders of magnitude. And also, you don't have to spend as much time compressing thoughts into a small number of words. You can do conceptual telepathy. That is the idea behind Neuralink. So it is intended to be a mitigation against AI existential risk.
You talk about alignment. Can you explain what you mean by alignment to help everyone understand?
Yeah, just is the AI going to do things that make civilization better, make people happy, or will it be contrary to humanity? Will it foster humanity or not? Will be against humanity? So obviously we want an AI that will foster humanity. I think in developing an AI to foster humanity, because I've thought about AI safety for a long time, I think I've had probably 1,000 hours of discussion about this. And my ultimate conclusion is that the best course for AI safety is to have an AI that is maximally truth-seeking and also curious. And if you have both of those things, I think it will naturally foster humanity, because it will want to see how humanity develops. Humanity is more interesting than not humanity. I like Mars. I'm a big fan of Mars, obviously. And I think we should become a multi-planet civilization. I think that's very important. The purpose of SpaceX is to make life multi-planetary. That's the reason I created the company, and that's the reason that we have the Starship development in South Texas. That rocket is far too big for just satellites. It's intended to establish life on Mars, not just to send astronauts there briefly, but to build a city on Mars. And that's ultimately self-sustaining. But getting back to AI, if you've got a truth-seeking AI that is maximally curious, my neural net, my biological neural net, says that that's going to be the safest outcome. Because it's like, so while like Mars, Mars is not as interesting as Earth because there's no human civilization there. Or thought of another way, if you want to render Mars, rendering Mars is pretty easy. It's basically red rocks on look kind of like some parts of Arizona. There's not a lot of people. It's easy to render. It's render like to Mars, but rendering human civilization much harder, much more complex, much more interesting. And I think a curious, truth-seeking AI would foster humanity and want to see where it goes.
That requires trust between the human and the machine, and that's where I want to ask you a question on this. So the Army, leaders in the Army are no strangers to implementing new technologies. Think about how GPS, for example, transformed navigation. It'd be unheard of not to use GPS today. But when I was a lieutenant, no one used GPS. So recently I was watching this incredibly important and realistic documentary called Top Gun Maverick. Yeah. And in it, I learned, it's really good. It's really good.
I mean, if you don't want to think about the plot too closely, but it's a great movie.
It's a fantastic movie. I learned that Tom Cruise is actually not an actor. He's like a pilot, apparently. But he taught me something really important in it. He says it's about the pilot, not the plane. And that's right before he defeats a fifth-generation fighter with a 1970s built F-14, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean, just go with a biplane.
Yeah, there you go. Tom Cruise could do it.
Stop with camel.
In it, it's a bit of a cynicism or a cynical view of the need for technology. It's like, hey, technology is superfluous. Humans can do it. But we know that's not the case.
No.
I don't question Tom Cruise. I don't ever question Tom Cruise. No, I'm just kidding. I guess the question is, how do we get humans to be able to trust the machines? Because there is a lot of stories. For example, we just recently had a conversation where Apache pilots were given new technology, and they were like, we're not going to use it because we don't really trust it. So they didn't use it. And so how do you get the how do you, when new technology is implemented, we have to be able to trust it, especially if it's going to be the difference maker to win. So how do we do that? How do we build the trust between the human and the machine?
Well, I think we shouldn't just automatically trust these things. I think you want to test it out. You do a lot of testing and see how it actually works in a conflict at small scale, and then scale it up if it's effective. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm not sure, for example, that there is a. Fortunately, this is not an Air Force gathering, but there's not. I'm not sure there's a lot of opportunity for fighter pilots, because I think if you've got a drone swarm coming at you, the pilot's a liability in the fighter plane, to be honest. So if you say, like, you compare a drone versus a fighter plane, how easy is it to make a drone? It's an order of magnitude, maybe 100, at least 10, maybe 100 times easier to make the drone, and you can afford to sacrifice the drones. Whereas the pilots, you don't want to sacrifice the pilots. So my guess is that actually the age of human piloted fighter aircraft is coming to an end.
If that's the case, then there's a question that is oftentimes debated in law and ethics debates about killer robots.
Yes.
And really, are these things that should we be willing to lean so forward with the technology that we start to supplant the human pilot with the technology, and where does that go? And so what are your thoughts as we talk about technology replacing humans on the battlefield?
Well, I guess what I'm saying is that at the front of the battle lines, it's going to be just drones, and any humans caught in the crossfire are going to be killed instantly.
So then it's irrelevant. It's just going to be the way military operations take place. There isn't going to be, if you make the choice to be there, then you're at a significant disadvantage.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just think, like, you've got drones that are constantly scanning. They're scanning in infrared, scanning invisible. There's thousands of them, or tens of thousands. You mentioned a million that Ukraine's going to make. You got a million drones coming at you.
Yeah.
Do you want to be on there with try to take out drones with an assault rifle? It's not going to be a good situation. I mean, I think that there is something where if you go fully analog, where if you can do sort of an EMI, like electromagnetic explosion of some kind that could take out all electronics, but then your electronics are going to go too. So you're going to go either fully analog or fully digital. So I think that there actually would be a role for a fighter plane if it was fully analog and had mechanical controls, because then you could do an EMF blast, take out the drones, and the analog. I mean, that could be another Tom Cruise movie, maybe. I don't know. It just goes to a fully analog aircraft, and all the drones fall out of the sky because of an EMF bomb.
How do you reply to those in, say, industry that would say, we don't want to contribute to the development of technology that can be used by the Department of Defense? Like, basically, we need to build trust with the industrial base and with society. Right. Maybe something we're doing. How do we do that?
Well, I'm very pro-military, so to be clear.
It's good. Your audience will like that.
Yes. But I think if there's a significant conflict, the U.S. industrial base will switch quickly to military production, just as it did in World War II. Is it quick enough? I don't know, but that's what will probably happen. But yeah, AI and drones, that's the future of warfare. And I mean, tell me if I'm missing something here. But
where do you see the domain of space?
Space, space is the ultimate high ground. So it really goes, space is big, real big. So if you ever see like Earth to scale with the sun, and it's like, wow, we're just like a tiny little dust mote, floating around space. That's Earth.
But space is becoming increasingly militarized. And so how do you see that, especially as it relates to land warfare? Like, what's your thoughts on the space domain as it relates to land warfare, and what are things that we should be doing to start to gain those advantages that are necessary?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned the space-based communications is critical. Like, if you can't communicate, you don't know what's going on.
Unlock a new world of efficiency with Asana. Automate workflows so your team can have less follow-up and more follow-through. Try for free today at asana.com.
You can't receive orders, you can't report information, and whether it's a human or a drone, they need communication. So you've got to have communications, any ground-based communications like fiber optic cables, and cell phone towers will be destroyed. So it's basically only all you've got are basically analog radios, and then for any kind of data communications, it's space-based. And then, while GPS has been effective for a long time, GPS jamming at this point is pretty easy because the GPS signal it's a weak signal, so it's easy to do GPS jamming. So having sort of a next generation system that can provide positioning is going to be very important. Space can also probably offer, the ultimate weapons where you just have, tungsten cannonballs from orbit.
How about offensive weapons in space? Do you see those?
That's what I mean by rods from God.
Yeah.
So if you have they talked about this in the Star Wars program in the 80s, but this is certainly something that can be done, which is you have just kinetic weapons from space or space-based lasers. Starlink system technically does have lasers, but they're low-power lasers for now.
Yeah. So let me ask you back to this question about process. So I like military history also.
Yeah.
I like all disciplines at West Point, by the way. I love all of them. So in 149 BC, there was the Third Punic War is ongoing, and the Roman legions are outside Carthage, and they lay siege to Carthage, and it's not going very well. The proconsuls that are in charge are passive, risk-averse, and they're losing. And there's a young guy who's from the famous Scipio line of proconsuls, and it is Scipio Aemilianus, who is the adopted grandson of Scipio Africanus. And so Scipio is the only one who's doing something. And so Cato the Elder is sitting in the Senate, and he says this. He says, "He alone still thinks, the others flit about in the shadows." And his basically argument was, I want Scipio in charge. And the problem was Scipio was too young. You had to be 42 to be a proconsul. And so Cato's like, I don't care.
USS Liberty, what's up, USS Liberty? Color commentary, what's up, color commentary? Welcome, guys. Someone leaked to Trende Aragua. Gang members, ICE was raiding Aurora, Colorado when ICE showed up the apartments from... Oh, yeah, that's horrible, isn't that? Yeah, no, they need to prosecute people that leaked that, PM. Yes, so you'd be helping terrorists. Yep, exactly. But he's unelected. We don't care, Doc Watson. Trump is elected.
He's the right guy. And then what does Scipio do? He goes in and he puts juice in because he's innovative, and obviously we know how the Third Punic War ends because we know about Rome and not Carthage, right? So what Cato was getting at is this need for innovative and creative and entrepreneurial leaders, right? That's what is necessary. And so processes are only as good as those who lead it. And so what are the traits you look for in those who lead your various businesses and enterprises?
I'm very much in technology. So for me, if somebody is going to lead something in technology, they must themselves be good at technology. Meaning that if they're going to lead something that involves complex engineering, they must themselves be good at engineering. They don't necessarily need to be the best engineer on the team, but they need to be very competent in their field. This is incredibly important to me. If somebody's leading a given engineering field or engineering department and they are not good at that, then that would be like a cavalry captain who can't ride a horse. Problem. Great leader in every way, except can't ride a horse. And then you got to charge into battle, and the cavalry captain falls off the horse. It's not inspiring. So cavalry captain must be able to ride a horse. That's actually, they don't need to be the best horse rider, but they must be competent in this regard. Otherwise, they cannot evaluate the talent of the team, and they don't understand the technology that's being developed. This may seem like a simple thing, but it is often the case that this is overlooked. I don't want to pick on the CEO of Boeing, but you got a degree in accounting or something, which I think that's you want to have like a someone who knows how airplanes will work, run the airplane company.
I guess I have to cross out my job at Boeing CEO.
Yeah,
can't do that.
Well, I mean, it's like you want to not be the. It's just if you're running an airplane company, you should know you should know how airplanes work and how they fly and how to design an airplane. I think that's pretty important. So I think it's vital.
But how do you create innovative intuition in those that work for you? I mean, you're famous for trying to gain efficiencies, create better processes, pushing to try to gain those not just efficiencies but effectiveness. So is it possible? Can you build this innovative intuition in a person?
Well, I think it is possible to learn to be innovative. A lot of times for any given thing, you have to say, did you try? This may sound obvious, but actually try. Like if somebody might wonder, well, can I be innovative? Well, have you tried? Try thinking of interesting ideas. I mean, I do find a good source of innovation is if you read about a whole bunch of fields, you can cross-fertilize ideas from one field into another. And so you can synthesize, so you take, say, SpaceX and Tesla. The automotive industry is very good at manufacturing. In terms of manufacturing complex machines at volume, the automotive industry is the best. Now, the rocket industry, space industry, is very good at advanced materials and making things very light. And so taking advanced materials and mass optimization concepts from the space industry, applying it to automotive, and taking automotive mass manufacturing techniques and applying it to space was kind of like a superpower.
But that's interesting, because when you think about it, when you're talking about innovating, though, and you said people can try, that means you have to be willing to let them fail.
Yes.
And so where do you draw the line between recklessness and being overly cautious?
No, if you're not failing at least some of the time, you're not trying hard enough. You have to fail some of the time. So it's more like a batting average. Somebody should have a good batting average, but nobody bats 1,000. But if somebody bats 0 all the time, I mean, okay, you got to take them off. So I think I do have this sort of simple first principles algorithm that I think could be quite helpful. And I sort of say it as a mantra to myself because I've made this mistake so many times. So the first element is for any given thing, make the requirements less dumb. So whatever problem you solve, make the requirements less dumb. And whoever gave you those requirements, even if they are the smartest person in the world, they're still dumb. So if say like this is where say military procurement, it goes wrong right at the outset with excess requirements. So you'll get sort of this giant document of requirements that actually should be like 1 page. So step 1, make the requirements, simplify and just make the requirements less dumb. Because if you don't do that as the first step, then you can get the right answer, but to the wrong question. If the question's wrong, it doesn't matter. So then the step 2 is delete the part or process step. Delete. And if you're not putting in, if you're not adding back 10% of what you deleted, you haven't deleted enough. This is, again, this stuff sounds, I think, maybe very obvious, but it's very effective. But it goes to the ideas like if some of the ideas that you're doing don't fail, you're not trying hard enough. And then only the third step is to optimize the thing. And if I say like, what's one of the mistakes that I see smart people making all the time, especially smart engineers, is optimizing a thing that should not exist. Sounds obvious, like you could try to let's have the world's best biplane, cloth biplane. I'm like, well, actually, no, we should have jet airplanes instead, So we should not optimize the thing that should not exist. And then step 4 is go faster. Again, this sounds really obvious, but people just don't. Try going faster. And the first step would be to automate something. But only automate it once you've done those other 4 things. Now, the reason I have this mantra is because I've personally, many times, automated something, sped it up, optimized it, and then deleted it. And I'm like, wait, I'm tired of going backwards here. So if you run that simple algorithm in many arenas of life, you will be shocked at how effective it is.
So shockingly, we are already running out of time. So let me ask you this. If you could choose one attribute, just one attribute that'd be critical for our future officers to have to be successful, what would it be?
Curiosity. As long as you're not a cat, but curiosity. Try to read as much as possible, learn as much as possible, and in many different fields, and apply critical thinking to anything that you're told.
Thank you. So I'd like to say on behalf of Lieutenant General Gillen and the entire Academy, we're really thankful that you're here. We're really thankful you took the time to help us celebrate the excellence of the faculty and the cadets, and really sharing some wisdom with us, because we're really thinking about what do we need to do to be successful, because we have a very important mission, which is a no-fail mission, which is we have to fight and win, and we're laser focused on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, in my view, or I think probably a lot of people's views, America is like Atlas holding up the free world, and you are the arms of Atlas. So,
thank you, Mr. Musk.
Welcome to Inside West Point.
We're really excited for you to help us
Boy,
kick off our...
that was entertaining. That was entertaining, wasn't it?
In other news, Montana residents are going to be happy to hear this. It just came out.
Fight against President Trump's government efficiency now heads to the courts as a federal judge extends the federal worker buyout deadline to Monday. But most USAID employees are expected to be put on leave today.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Pam Bondi just hit one sanctuary city with a lawsuit over their policies protecting illegal migrants. And as the White House vows to go after the criminals and cartels, the DEA administrator is here to tell us how they're going to do it.
Plus, Todd, this is fun. One school district hoping for a Philadelphia Eagles Super Bowl win is already planning to delay school on Monday by 2 hours. They're super awesome, super cool. Superintendent will join us live to explain. You are watching Fox and Friends First on this Friday morning. I'm Carly Schick.
Really nice interplay there, Super Bowl and superintendent.
Thank
well
you.
done. That's the Carly
I appreciate
Schick
you
difference.
appreciating me.
I am Todd Pyro. We start with another guy who knows how to do a little wordplay. Lucas Tomlinson on Trump's legal fight. Hey, Lucas.
Well, good morning, Todd. Thank you. And Carly, if you're a federal worker on the fence about taking that buyout, you have some more time to think it over. Now, tonight's midnight deadline for USAID workers does not appear to be changing as the workforce is being slashed by nearly 10,000 workers, leaving fewer than 300. Here's Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
We're not trying to be disruptive to people's personal lives. We're not being punitive here. But this is the only way we've been able to get cooperation from USAID. I had preferred not to do it this way. When we tried to do it from the top down by getting cooperation from the central office of USAID, what we found instead are people trying to use the system to sneak through payments and push through payments despite the stop order. The United States will be providing foreign aid, but it is going to be foreign aid that makes sense and is aligned with our national interest.
Now, unions are suing the Trump administration over the cuts. The American Foreign Service Association and American Federation of Government Employees says these actions have generated a global humanitarian crisis by abruptly halting the crucial work of USAID employees, grantees, and contractors. They have cost thousands of American jobs, and they have imperiled U.S. national security interests. Now, here's the post from the U.S. Office of Personnel Management about extending the buyout deadline in compliance with the court order. The deadline for federal employees to accept the deferred resignation program is being extended to Monday, February 10th, just before midnight. The program is not being blocked or canceled. The government will honor the deferred resignation offer. Now, many Republican lawmakers cite this list of what some are calling questionable spending with U.S. taxpayer dollars. Here's the scroll here. Perhaps we can turn it up a notch, get it going a little quicker. You see $1.9 million for Guatemalan transgender support, $15 million for condoms to the Taliban, $70,000 for DEI musical in Ireland, $32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru, $3.3 million for a Caribbean LGBT group, $55 million for strengthening Libyan financial management. Perhaps Billy Carter would have supported that one. The list goes on and on, guys. So I'm not sure how long we'll take this. Okay, $49 million to improving reading scores somewhere. Guys, that's the list. As you can see, many Americans are upset that so much money is being spent by questionable recipients.
Lucas, maybe we can get Elon Musk to make the scroll go faster. And that'll be his next part of efficiency, making our scroll more efficient.
Yeah, some of that spending will certainly wake you up. My goodness. All right, Lucas Tomlinson live for us in Washington. Lucas, thank you so much. Let's bring in former Deputy National Security Advisor and Heritage Foundation Vice President of National Security, Victoria Coates. Victoria, good morning to you. So I think that many Americans didn't even really know a lot about USAID before the Trump administration got involved and said that it's got to go. And now there is a lot of reaction from both sides of the aisle on what the impact of this will be. So weigh in on this conversation. What do you think that it will be if this organization is folded into the State Department?
Well, good morning, Carly. Good to be with you. I think it is actually a great thing for the American people if USAID wraps up its mission and becomes, as you say, an arm of the State Department rather than its own independent entity. I mean, bear in mind, this was created by John Kennedy in the early 1960s as a Cold War tool to help, spread American values. And it had its heyday after the fall of the Berlin Wall, bringing, free economics to the former Soviet bloc countries. But then it kind of drifted and became purposeless. And as Lucas was just reporting, it's all of this grab bag of crazy, woke, left, liberal agenda items. And, I think it's gotten so bad, it really can't be reformed. It has to be ended.
But critics are going to say USAID leaving it leaves a void that China and Russia are going to fill. You are an expert on national security. Will getting rid of USAID make the American people less safe?
Absolutely not. I mean, and China and Russia are not going to waste their money on this nonsense. And what it has done when it has become so extreme is it actually undermines us because they're doing this in a lot of regions that are quite conservative socially. Latin America, parts of Africa, the Middle East, for example. And so what we're actually doing is alienating local populations, and that's the void that China and Russia can step into.
All right, so President Trump is going to be talking to the president of Panama today as the U.S. tries to curb China's influence over the
Zero workers.
Panama says China does not have influence over the canal. The United States says, yes, they do. So who's right in that argument, and where do you see this one going?
Well, it's moving around a little bit because China absolutely has had significant influence over the Panama Canal through its various state-owned entities such as Hutchinson Ports, which controls both ends of the Panama Canal, or has controlled. After Secretary Rubio's very successful trip to the region, however, Panama has announced they're ending their participation in China's odious Belt and Road program and is looking at ending those contracts. So, right now, the United States is correct, but if Panama alters its policies, maybe they can be correct too.
Well, let's look at the recent past, because all these foreign leaders talk tough, and then one conversation with Trump and they change their tune like that. The leader of Colombia is like, we are not going to help you. And then he's like, here's my plane. So what do you expect to come out of today's call?
No, I think President Trump has just enormous leverage over all of these governments, and he knows it. Joe Biden wasn't willing to use that leverage. He just wanted to make nice with everyone if he communicated with them at all. And what President Trump is doing is literally laying down the law and saying, if you want United States assistance, if you want United States protection, there's going to be a cost to that. It doesn't come for free. It is something that is being subsidized by the U.S. taxpayer. And for that reason, you're going to have to, hew to American priorities. I think that's just a very simple calculus. He's very straightforward about it, and it's effective.
Yeah, well, there's a lot going on, especially when it comes to foreign policy this week. So, Victoria, we thank you so much for joining us this morning and following it all.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Now to a Fox News alert. Search and rescue crews in rural Alaska are looking for a plane carrying 10 people that went missing overnight. The Coast Guard says the lane was 12 miles offshore, flying from Unalakleet to Nome when its location was lost. The flight was scheduled to land at 4 p.m. Alaska time yesterday, but flight radar data shows the small aircraft last reported information at 3:16 above the Norton Sound.
Meantime, time is up for officials to present President Trump with a plan to release all of the JFK files. Today's deadline comes 2 weeks after he signed an executive order demanding the files finally be declassified. The National Intel Director and Attorney General still have 30 more days to review all records relating to the assassinations of MLK Jr. and Senator RFK. They also must present the president with a plan to release those records. We wait with bated breath.
Yes, certainly.
Meantime, it was an exciting night at the 2025 NFL Honors Awards in New Orleans just 3 days before Super Bowl 50.
That's right. Chanley Painter is here with the big moments of the night. Hey, Chanley.
Hey, good morning, Carly and Todd. So get this, for the first time in 38 years, a quarterback wins the MVP award, but was not also awarded the first team All-Pro at quarterback, with Buffalo Bills QB Josh Allen taking home the top honor in a surprising victory over Baltimore Ravens QB Lamar Jackson.
I know this is an individual award and it says most valuable player on it, but I think it's derived from team success, and I love my team. And it takes everybody from the equipment staff to the training room to the strength staff to Slick Rick in the mailroom to the cafeteria upstairs. Like it truly takes everybody to have team success, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of a great organization.
Other top awards went to Eagles running back Saquon Barkley with Offensive Player of the Year, Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels winning Offensive Rookie of the Year, and Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell taking home Coach of the Year. Well, Snoop Dogg was the host for the night, kicking off the show with this. Watch.
This is an incredible Super Bowl matchup between the Eagles and the refs. The battle for MVP this year seems too close to call, which is a surprise. Because usually when there's a fight between guys named Lamar, Saquon, and Josh, I don't give Josh much of a chance. My guy, Sam Darnold, is in the house tonight. SC, what up, Sam? Sam, look, you had an incredible year. It just shows that all you need to succeed is hard work, determination, and getting the hell away from them Jets.
And of course, the Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2025 was also announced, including greats like Antonio Gates, Jared Allen, Sterling Sharp, and Eric Allen, though many fans voiced disappointment, saying players like Luke Kuechly and Eli Manning were snubbed. Todd Garley, back to
A little bit
you.
of controversy at the end.
They were snubbed. How is Eli Manning not even in the top 7? I understand the argument that maybe Eli Manning is not a Hall of Famer, but he's definitely in the conversation to like make the next round.
Maybe next year?
It's tougher next year because you have two other quarterbacks, Drew Brees and somebody else getting in there. It's
interesting. I thought Snoop Dogg was hilarious. Respect to all the Joshes out there. It's their time.
And the Jets out there.
Chanley, great job.
This guy beat the Jets a lot, but didn't beat the Giants. I had to say that to make myself feel better. 7-time Super Bowl champion and our colleague, he's in the email system, Tom Brady, will be calling the game on Sunday. But before that, he's going to join Fox and Friends this morning, 8:30 a.m.
I never
Eastern
thought about
time.
emailing him before. Maybe I should.
Write him right now. He'll be up in
like,
a little
Carly,
bit.
who? What's this?
Oh, he'll
about?
be like, I've heard of Carly Shimkus and her amazing wordplay from earlier in the show. The Trump DOJ has just slapped Chicago with the lawsuit over sanctuary city policies and is laying out plans to get criminal, migrant, and cartel members off the streets.
That's right. The brand new DEA administrator is here to tell us how they are going. The DOJ is now suing Illinois and the city of Chicago for allegedly obstructing the federal government's enforcement of immigration law and refusing to end its sanctuary policies.
They are choosing illegal aliens over the safety and security of their own citizens and the men and women of law enforcement who are out there trying to protect their citizens. Not only did we sue today the city of Chicago, we sued the state of Illinois, we sued the mayor, we sued the governor, and we sued others. And let me be very clear, if you don't comply with federal law, you're going to be next.
President Trump's newly appointed DEA chief, Derek Maltz, is also vowing to crack down on crime, and he joins me now. Derek, good morning to you. Congratulations on this appointment. It's great to have you on the show this morning. You are hoping to be the single biggest thorn in the side of Mexican drug cartels, which makes you a very brave man. And I like the wording of what you're trying to do, to create an army of good, to fight back against evil and stop cartel influence in the United States once and for all. It's a lofty goal. How do you go about accomplishing it?
Well, for one, it all starts at the top. So leadership has been real clear that the law enforcement in this country is going to protect the citizens, and we're going to use all the tools, all the authorities, and all the great American patriots. Men and women are out there every day on the streets. All the agencies are united. This is the first time I've seen this level of cooperation between the DOJ component agencies, the DHS, Homeland Security, the new border czar. Everyone's working together. We're on the streets together. But unfortunately, Carly, we have compromises like we had in Aurora, Colorado. We're trying to remove the most violent criminals in America off the streets, and we have media folks leaking it to those traffickers, to those criminals. Very, 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 very sad.
It is very sad. There were supposed to be 100 Tren de Aragua members arrested in Colorado. Only one was. But when Bill Malugin went into the apartments, because he did a ride along, he said that there were blood inside the apartment complexes, which is really all you need to know about who these people are. And they're still in our country because of that leak. So we mentioned it at the top. Newly appointed AG Pam Bondi is suing the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, over the sanctuary policy, saying that they violate federal law. Do sanctuary policies impact the work that you're trying to do in getting drugs out of this country?
100%. I mean, what person in America would want to protect the most violent criminals in the world? All you have to do is just pay attention to what's happening, like in Aurora, for example. These Tren de Aragua violent criminals are taking over entire apartment buildings. This is a
Oh, Guess, I was just reading your message. That's hilarious, Guess. What in the world? So it kind of shows that, like, Pisco was not even really loyal even when he was saying he was to Destiny, and then once Destiny stuff came out, then he was, like, backtracking and claiming it wasn't what it was, and what a mess, man. Wow. Wow. Get some sapling storage. I'm gonna have to go to work soon. 6:15 now. Should probably work now, but actually quite enjoying this. I've made some pretty good progress here, I feel like, in a lot of different, you know, finally building up some cooking oil. Oh shoot, this is all frick. Dang it. Now that's all blocked in. Dang it. So this just gets more and more wonky. Like, this is a freaking, I don't know why I'm going down on diesel. Like, I've got 1 2 3 oh 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. Like, holy crap, man, that's a lot of flipping. It's gonna take me so long to get up there. Is there any oil up here? Oh, there's coal up here. Oh yeah, there is oil. Frick, man, that's not easy to get to, though. How are you supposed to get to these places? I guess you have to get up to here and then drive along here and then freaking like dig out a trench down. Like, holy cow, man. You know what? Maybe I should try to build some more of these. 10. I could build like 10 of them, looks like. Nine. I was able to do 9 of them. Let's see, but that's kind of nice. I mean, it's kind of nice. I'm getting 7.5, which is frankly similar to my large power generators. Mostly, I'm getting off of small power generators, which frankly I need to change. I'd like to see that change. Like for example, here's a bunch of smalls. Oh, here's a big one. Like what I'd like to see. I don't know. What's more, are these big ones more efficient? So this takes 18 mechanical power to 15 electricity. This takes 3 mechanical power to 2 electricity. Oh, so 6 times 3, 6 times 12. Yeah, oh, okay, so these big ones are more efficient. Yeah, so I need to get rid of all of my smalls. Is this thing producing steam yet? Okay, yeah, this thing's got 900 steam. Okay, so what I could do is basically get rid of all of this. Okay. Now this. Okay, so that'll just shunt water straight over to here. Okay, hold on. So 5 from that. My large power generators are not doing me my deal. All right, so I need to get high steam, power production, high pressure turbine 2. Do 12 and right, that's 24. That's 24 mechanical power. I guess I Oops, 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 oops. Cancel that. Okay.
America, we have to unite, we have to stand together, and we have to stand up for the citizens. We have to put Americans first. This Attorney General, this President, and in DEA and all our agencies, we're going to put Americans first, and we're going to keep them safe.
Okay, well, despite these sanctuary policies, like you were saying, about 100 criminal migrants have been arrested in the New York City area between January 28th and February 3rd, just a few days' time. 100 have been arrested. That includes an Ecuadorian migrant who admitted to raping a woman, pled guilty, and was only sentenced to time served. He was let back out on the streets. Now he is arrested in DHS custody. And a special agent in charge of the DEA's New York division says, quote, what's different is the urgency to remove criminal illegals or violent illegal criminal drug traffickers without having to go through 6, 8, 10, 12-month investigations. I mean, you've served under many different presidents. How do the current administration policies stack up to previous presidents in terms of how you get your job done?
Well, right now, I have never seen this sense of urgency. And in the DEA, we've participated in over 1,000 arrests with DHS and our other components out there fighting crime out there in the streets. So we are moving fast, and we are going to get the job done. And Tom Homan, as you've seen, is very committed to, getting these criminals out of the country.
Derek Maltz, you got a big job on your hands, but you are the man for the job, and we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. All right, let's take a look at a glass half view of things. According to Nancy Pelosi, the Democrats really didn't lose in November.
All I know is that we won a seat in the House. We did not lose any seats. You know, people were like, oh, the Democrats lost. No, we did not.
Okay. You won't want to miss what else she had to say as she rewrites history. Joe Concha here to react to that next. House Republicans closing in on a deal to extend the Trump tax cuts and slash spending after a 4-hour meeting at the White House.
We had a very productive meeting at the White House, well over 4 or 5 hours. President Trump was very engaged throughout the meeting, and we are narrowing down the areas of differences.
We are knocking on the door of a successful deal and a markup that would kick the process off with respect to the budget resolution and reconciliation instructions.
New Jersey Congressman Jeff Van Drew joins me now. Congressman, how close, truly close, are House Republicans to working out their disagreements in order to pass the budget and tax legislation that they promised the American people on the campaign trail?
Well, we're close. If everybody keeps in mind what I keep in mind is that we've got to get it done. The tax cuts have to be done. The money saving has to be done. And over so much nonsensical, awful spending right now in our budget, what's gone on for years. And we have to get our border buttoned up. We have to make sure that the country's safe. We know what needs to be done. It's all been laid out. It means that we all must come together. I don't care if it's one bill or two bills. See, that's the whole thing. For me personally, I'd rather do one big bill, get it done early, get the president's agenda done, and move on, because we got a lot of work to do. But if it's going to end up being two bills, I will support that as well. There's one thing I do want to say here. We have to make sure, and I've expressed this to the speaker, to leadership, to others, and I'm going to continue to say it. We need to use a scalpel. And by that, I mean when we make cuts.
Yo, Num, what's up? USAID gave $27 million to the George Soros Prosecutor Fund, the same fund that funded the left. That should be totally illegal. That people should go to jail for that. It came out $28 million went to illegal dirtbags by USAID. They think a Soros project to elect DEI, and woke DEI got $60 million. Yeah, that people should go to jail for that. Holy cow, that's horrible. My conspiracy theory is USAID was a source of deep state fraud and corruption for a long time. They went after Trump, so now he's going after their corrupt funding. Oh, that could totally be true. I do think that USAID is like a hotbed for... I do think USAID is like a hotbed for corruption and deep state stuff, just because I was talking about this last night. Like, USAID involves foreign funding, and so foreign funding is harder to have oversight of for Americans and for us to know really what's going on with it, since it's being done overseas. I don't think these things need a boost anymore.
You cut things like gender affirming training for journalists in Sri Lanka. We don't need that. Okay, we don't need to spend money on that. And I have dozens of examples like that. But we do need to keep our Social Security, our Medicare, take care of our veterans, our senior citizens, and others. It's very, very important that we do this the right way. And I believe that we will. But we need to monitor it, but we need to move, and we need to get it done, and we need to stop, any disagreement and just move forward.
You know who else is taking a scalpel to things? Elon Musk and Doge, but they are facing legal challenges with a judge extending the federal worker buyout deadline. Meantime, the Trump administration now being sued by government workers' unions over those USAID cuts. It is clear that permanent Washington is fighting back literally for their own survival. Who wins, Congressman? In the end, will it be permanent Washington turning out to be victorious, or will Trump-Musk be the victors?
No, we have to understand here how important this is. This is about the continuation and the future of the republic. We have people at many levels that want to continue the status quo. You know what the status quo is? Working people working harder than ever, paying more taxes than ever, and the money being sent all around the world and given to people that hate America, so many of them. We don't need to continue that. So we have people, unfortunately, here in Washington, which is nothing like the rest of America, nothing like real working people, that just want to continue that. And we've got to stop it. It's going to be bumpy. I said from Jumpstart, I talked to you folks, we were speaking just months ago and said, this is not going to be easy. It's going to be a bumpy road. It's going to be hard, but the goal is worth it. We will prevail in the end, but they're not going to let this go easily.
It's what the American people want. Yeah, there are a few people who want to keep the status quo, but by and large, the American people voted for cuts. Those cuts need to be delivered. Before we let you go, got to ask you about this. A China-linked firm has gotten a $1.7 billion Easy Pass contract in New Jersey. You want this decision reversed immediately. Look, Congressman, I drive through Jersey all the time to visit my parents. I don't want the CCP knowing my whereabouts and what I'm doing. With all that.
DEA.
It's an absolute scandal, Num. It's a scandal of the highest order. It's a scandal of the highest order, I think. The fact that these funding things that are coming out.
Introducing the next generation of Tonal. We took the smartest, most effective.
The reality is President Trump's first tax bill lowered taxes for the vast majority of Americans, roughly 2/3 of American households. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent joined Larry Kudlow yesterday with a simple message on the issue: make these tax cuts permanent.
If we do not get this tax bill done, as I said in my Senate hearings, this is pass-fail for our side of the aisle. And we will have the largest tax hike in history, and that will be on the people on our side who do not try to move this forward.
For more, let's bring in Fox News contributor Liz Peek. Liz, this is not just a want to have. This is not one of those bills that they can think about possibly doing. This is a must do if we want economic growth.
Yeah, and by the way, I think it should be pass-fail for both sides of the aisle. This is a preposterous thing that we're going to ladle onto this economy, a $3 billion tax hike. One of the most astonishing things during the campaign was that Kamala Harris ran on letting these tax cuts expire.
Yeah.
Today, to your point earlier, everybody got a tax cut in this tax bill. You got a doubling of the child tax credit and all kinds of things that were beneficial to almost everybody in the country. So yes, did the wealthy get more of a cut? Of course, they paid.
Dude, I just hit my own people with a bunch of radiation, man. Radiation.
More of the taxes. So if you cut taxes, by definition, the wealthy are going to get more benefit. This is really foolish, and I have to say it brings home the urgency of Republicans figuring this out. They have got to stop squabbling between the Senate and the House and figure out how they're going to get this done. Nothing could be more important.
Well, and they're squabbling over, it seems to be less squabbling over in the House. But after today, it seems like they're coming together. They spent hour upon hour at the White House, the House leadership, but they can't even get it together because you've got these jacklegs from these blue states who are Republicans who are demanding, the state and local tax deduction go up excessively. And I say that living in a high tax state, but I digress. I'm just focused on Nancy Pelosi. She's gotten redone and made her debut because Chuck Schumer is stinking up the joint, and she thinks that there's like an end there somewhere.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I have to say the Democrats are floundering on so many fronts.
Oh, man, the Democrats are floundering on so many fronts. All right, guys, I guess I got to do some work here, folks. I got to do some work. I'm going to try to do some things. Thanks for checking it out, guys. See you later.